Hi guys, welcome to another audio video, and we'll be reading Psalms 23 of the King James Version Bible, and it reads, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever." So, in this chapter, we see that David acknowledges God as his shepherd. And if we recall, David comes from a humble beginning of a shepherd. So, him making this relationship, him making this correlation between a shepherd and the Lord, he understands what he is saying. He truly understands what it is to be a shepherd, because he was a shepherd of flocks, right? And so he knows fully what this entails, and he's saying the Lord is his shepherd, and so he will not want. And when David was a shepherd, he had to protect his sheep from lions. He spoke of the time when he was speaking to Saul and he was going up against Goliath. He spoke of a time where he actually, because of the Lord, slayed a lion with his bare hands. He did that not because of his own volition, but because of God, the strength that God gave him to protect his sheep. And here we see where he's making that correlation between the shepherd and God. God being his shepherd, protecting him from all evils, being mighty and being strong to keep him. He said that the Lord leadeth him beside still waters, as he maketh him to lie in green pastures. Make him to lie in green pastures. He actually enriched his life. That's what his shepherd did to him. The same way he brought his sheep, his flock, to graze, the same way the Lord has brought him from a lowly state of a shepherd to an exalted state of being a king. He restoreth his soul. We recall where David sinned against God, and God restored him, God cleansed him, God purified him, and lead him on the path of righteousness, returned him to righteousness. Yea, though he walks through the valley of the shadow of death, he will fear no evil. He knows that God is his strength, and so he's saying, I will not fear anything before me, because God has proven himself time and time again. As he says in the previous chapters, God has preserved him, God has kept him. For thou art with me. He acknowledges that it's God. That's what I love about David, He acknowledges that it's God that does all, that works wonders in his life. And nothing is of his own accord, but only of God. Because he's thy rod, and his rod and staff comfort him time and time again. He states that the Lord prepared a table before him in the presence of his enemies, being that the Lord provided for him and made a way for him before his enemies, supplied all his needs before his enemies, so his enemies would actually see. He strengthened him before his enemies. Okay? and he anointed him. We remember where the Lord had anointed David multiple times. Okay, and so his goodness and his mercy shall always follow him, because he will always dwell in the house of the Lord and worship God and be of good faith. Right, guys? So, this is indeed, we say this all the time, we read the scripture all the time, we meditate on the scripture all the time, but we do not actually focus on what it's actually saying in depth. And we need to, because we need to meditate on this. We need to meditate on the scripture, because if, and whatever it is that is your main goal in life, if you're a student, if you're a pastor, well, if you're a pastor, you could actually relate to a shepherd. But if you are a student, if you are an accountant, whatever you are, think of God as the person who is the key personnel within, for you, within whatever role you're in. If you're a child, then think of your parents as being your shepherds. Okay? And just think of how they actually protect you and look out for you and guide you and keep you. Okay? And all of us have parents. And if we don't, we have guardians. Okay? So we can relate and we can put our minds in that state where we're thinking of God as our parents, as our father. He says he's our father. So let's think of him as our father and our shepherd, and kind of, exchange the word shepherd for our father or mother or guide. Whatever it is that will actually get you to fully meditate on what is actually being said here, the declaration that David has made in this chapter. Alright, guys, I'm going to leave you right there. Please remember to continue to walk in your salvation. And if you've not yet gained it, then seek it. There's no better time to begin than the present. Have yourselves a blessed day. Bye.